What is going on, everybody, and welcome to another weekly update. And in this video, what I'd like to provide you is events, earnings, and potential stock picks that I am looking forward to during the week to help provide you some guidance in the week and days coming. And if that sounds like something you're interested in, consider subscribing. Because like I said, I do provide daily updates as well, because in this market, you have to be very flexible. So nonetheless, what we're going to do, and something I've been failing to do, is pop this little guy up as I'm speaking, because I know you all like to listen to me speak first and foremost. But nonetheless, as long as I have this up, I think it will kind of help everything. But this week is going to be pretty straightforward, in my opinion. Again, always Russia-Ukraine war, still stuff going on. There are some earnings going on this week. I'm more focused on the middle of the month. You start getting your JP Morgan and your Netflix towards the middle of the month. That's going to really start kicking things off. Aside from that, you're going to get some other small earnings. And again, this is also why I do daily updates. If something comes up, we don't have the full schedule that's normally going to roll out roughly, depending on the company, about 2 to 3 weeks out before we know exact earnings for some of these companies, especially when you start talking about big tech. One big event that is not listed on here is Tesla numbers. Delivery numbers should be coming out this weekend. And we get to see how they do, especially with sanctions and lockdowns in China. So we have to see how that has affected Tesla, if it affects Tesla in any way, which has been an absolute beast going through the pandemic. It will be concerning if they don't make expectations with these numbers. So that is one thing to watch over the weekend coming into Monday. And then on Wednesday, we do have the Fomc meeting notes. Now, I don't really know how much weight this is going to have. Again, something I've talked about throughout the week is that we already got our first rate raise. We already know the Fed's going to be hawkish. The market has survived multiple rate raises before. This is nothing new. And again, if it's not nothing new, it's not going to really affect the market. The market doesn't care. We essentially got rid of this sticker shock value. Now we're ready to move on. And so this is why I think this week is pretty straightforward unless something new develops. I think we're going to head up, and technical wise, we kind of look that way as well. I was hoping for a little bit deeper pullback on Friday. We didn't really get that. We kind of got a little bit of a sell off, but the market just doesn't want to sell. It's getting ready for earnings coming up. And considering we've again sold for 2 months or 3 months almost, the market's just going to continue to rip unless we get something dramatically showing us something very different in the earnings. Because if there's something that is very dramatic and different in the earnings because of sanctions, because of lockdowns, that could potentially cause more chop moving forward, because the market's not going to know how to take that into the upcoming earnings. Could be a possibility, could not. The market could not care. But again, we have to see how market reacts, how market digests it is what matters, because normally these moves are just temporary moves, and then the market will continue to push up anyway. And then again, as far as watch list, we have Tesla's big move priced in for this week. I have 63 there, but I think it's actually, let me look on here. Tesla actually has, for next week, let's check out Tesla real quick. For next week, it actually has an 81. So I misprinted this. I thought it was 81. That's why I had to relook at that. So that is incorrect. It's actually an 81. So that's one of the biggest moves I'm seeing going into this week is the Tesla move and what it's trying to price in. And again, I think that's because of delivery numbers. Again, the market's been trying to sell, and Tesla is not giving up this 1073 mark at all. I think it's going to see 1200 by at least earnings. I think it's going to hover around that at 1200 by earnings, and then once we get earnings, we might start breaking out to all-time highs. I don't know. I think at that point, it's more going to be a market sentiment. I do believe right after this earnings, we're going to chill out for a bit, especially because of this parabolic move. If we're going to continue to do this, going into earnings. I think after that, the market will chill out, and then we might finally get a pullback at that point. But again, this move is absolutely absurd. We don't want these parabolic moves because that means could be potentially that after earnings, if we hit the 1200, we might pull back pretty dramatically because of that, or maybe even an event will happen and cause a pullback. But again, that's pretty much what I got. So for the week, I got UPST. I think is a good technical wise. Shop is good technical wise. And then Chipotle these are some of the bigger moves priced in for the week. Google could be potentially there too. Again, this is why I do daily updates because again, things change, and I kind of want to see how the market opens up on Monday first to really depict anything else. Now, looking at SPX technical wise, we did pull back. I was really hoping for a pullback to that essentially that 4483 mark. We got pretty close to the 4500 mark. Again, the psychological number, it could be enough for us to continue up, like I said, going to all-time highs. Again, I think the roads are pretty clear. There's nothing that is new that the market hasn't seen before from this point forward. Again, something new can interject and change this. Something can happen with Russia and Ukraine. Again, China can enter. Again, peace talks. All these things can fuel the market even more than what it is. Again, I don't think there's going to be anything that's going to drop the market as dramatically as it already has. Again, we were trying to prepare for the Fed. Now we got the Fed, and now we're just going to continue to push up, continue back to all-time highs like before. So that may be the only pullback we get for now until earnings. Again, I could be wrong here. We could just play range until earnings. Could be a strong possibility too. You have to look at it multiple different ways. We could open up and down here on Monday, which would be awesome. But we have to see. Again, we're getting a lot of quick moves in the morning, and then we just kind of die out. And then the last hour, we get another quick move, and then that's pretty much it. So that is the current market we are in. Now, Bitcoin actually played really well. I was talking about this level the other day, and it bounced perfectly, essentially off that support, the 200 EMA, the 44K mark, bounced perfectly off of that back into this weekend. It filled that gap. Again, will be interesting to see how we open up. Hopefully we open up Monday around the 50K mark. Again, Bitcoin is traded 24/7, so it really doesn't matter, but I can see us potentially gaining momentum over the weekend and start hitting that high. So that's something I want to watch. Again, we have already, I think we're just retested today is what we did. Now we're going to continue up. And again, one thing to keep in mind is to watch the index and watch Bitcoin and see if they run in parallel. They have been running pretty close in parallel, especially with inflation talks all the time. So that's one thing to keep in mind. Again, gold has done absolutely really nothing. It's just pretty much chopped for a while, but Bitcoin has been pretty volatile and moving just like the market, which is quite intriguing, something to keep on watch. Now, again, Tesla, first one, should have the biggest move. I know I kind of briefly talked about this. I talked about that gap. I was looking for a gap fill back to the downside to do a retest. Again, we have to see how we open Monday, but if we get bad numbers, yeah, this thing is probably going to come down pretty quick, probably 950 again. But again, I think Tesla has a cult following. It'd be picked up pretty fast and continue pushing up. Again, any kind of hindrances in delivery numbers would obviously be because of sanctions or China. I think could cause that, especially if the chips suffer at all. Again, I think Tesla could do the same. But if it gets good deliveries, look for that break at the 1120 mark, and then looking straight for 1200. If it does break that, is kind of what I'm looking at. Again, it's been winding up. When Tesla makes these big windups, it normally has these massive rips, and so this is what you look for and wait for the breakouts. As soon as it breaks out, and then you pretty much just buy at that point. Again, not enough financial advice, but that's essentially how Tesla works. It has these long wind-up periods, and then it breaks out. So Tesla, I want to keep on watching. Again, one of the biggest moves I've seen this week. Google had like a 72, I think, point move coming into this week, but we'll have to see on that one. UPST I really like. I'm really watching this area because it's really winding very tight, and I like that. Looking for a breakout. Again, as long as it can hold 100 so far, it's doing really well. We actually got another really nice wedge here on this time frame here. So you're really kind of watching this. It's really at that make or break point. So hopefully this breaks out. If it does, definitely want to try to get entrance here. Hopefully around that 113 mark if it does, and then continue to try to get back up to at least the around the one. We'll go about 155 is kind of what I'm looking at. Again, there'll be some speed bumps up along the way, but one I really do want to watch. Shop is something I've been talking about for a while. It's sold off a lot now. It's winding up much like Tesla. It's playing this tight range between the 669 mark and the 737 mark. I don't think this is going to drop below this until earnings. I do think it can break out and start running before earnings. I think it's a strong possibility. So something I really want to watch in this range. Again, if you can buy in at the 679 mark, keep a tight stop. I think that'll be a perfect entry for this. And then again, sell if you need to there. And then if it does break above that, to re-enter it, and then try to take a play. Try to cycle out of your contracts if you're playing options, or buy shares at that level at the 673 mark and tight stop. And then if it continues up, just continue to move your stop up to try to gain this back, because I believe shop will see 1K by earnings, if not more, I think, and that's coming up very quickly. So something I'm going to keep an eye on. Chipotle is the last one I got, CMG. This one I do like. It's starting to wind up, which is really nice. It's under that 200, but that's what I'm really looking for this week, is looking to break above. So really looking at that 1600, that psychological level. If we can open up the daily above that, I think it's going to be a pretty clear shot straight up from there, like a lot of these are. If we can break above that, I think you're going to get a pretty clear shot. 1750, I think you get a 150-point move off of that if it does break and hold above that. So something I really want to keep in mind. This isn't the fastest of movers, and this thing can change very quick, and it's not very liquid. So just be mindful of that. But if it can't break and hold, I think we can really start running here shortly. But this video is a little short. It's a weekly update. This week will be pretty straightforward, and that is what I'm looking for. And again, any kind of daily updates. That's why I do daily updates, because a lot of different things can change. And so that is what I'm looking for. Again, I'm thinking I'm very bullish still at this point, unless something changes. So if you've made it this far, go ahead and drop a like button. Until next time, I'll see you guys later.